Could you use a simple and profound way to handle life's challenges so that you can make the progress that you want and enjoy life? Well, if so, this episode is all for you. Welcome to Enjoy Life. I'm your host, Nick Macy. This podcast is all about choosing what we do so that we can make our lives more how we want them to be. Life is not perfect and never will be, but if we're intentional with what we do, life can be great and we can enjoy it. Here I will share with you information that I've learned through my journey through struggling with addiction, getting my life back on track, earning a master's degree in psychology, helping people as a vocational counselor, being a busy dad of wonderful twin girls, and my continued efforts in self-development. I'll share with you actionable tips, suggestions, and information that are all things that I try to do in my own life. Let's get ready for today's episode. Glad that you're here and joining in. This is an amazing episode, I think so. I get a big kick out of it, and I can't wait to share it with you. As always, if you enjoy any episodes, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. That way you won't miss them. And make sure you share it with somebody. Take a screenshot, share it on Instagram. You can tag me, Nick Macy, or just share it with somebody you know. That way they can get some value out of it too. All right, today we're talking about that simply profound way to handle life's challenges. Hey, do you ever get overwhelmed? That might be a silly question nowadays, but if you ever get overwhelmed, if there's ever just too many decisions that you got to make, too many choices, just too many demands for your time and attention, and you just really want to make some progress in life. You want to lead a good life, but sometimes there's just so much stuff out there, so much noise. If that's a challenge for you, that's a challenge for me a lot of the times. In this simple and yet profound way to make those choices and to handle those challenges, it might really just be able to help you out a lot. It's something that's really served me, and it gives me a lot of peace, a lot of freedom. It helps my mindset. It makes me just feel better about life in general. It's a simple solution. Now, I know I'm talking it up a whole lot because it's an amazing thing. I said it's simple and profound, but I don't get to take credit for it. It'd be really cool if I could. I didn't come up with this solution. In fact, I've heard about it. I've heard about it in some different areas, but the two main places that I've heard about it are just radically different sources. The one place that I've heard about this solution is actually from a Disney movie. Yep, I'm a dad. And so I've seen many Disney movies, and the ones I've seen many times. One place that you might find a solution is from a Disney movie. Don't discredit it. Believe me, you do not want to discredit it. The next place that I've also heard about this solution, I heard about this solution in this other place years and years ago, was a 12-step meetings. There was a time a while back, that I really struggled. I struggled with addiction. And there was some difficult few years there. You'll hear me talk about it some. But during those times, I learned a lot because when you're really in the middle of a struggle, when times are really difficult, you have to go back to just the basic truths. You got to forget all the extra outside stress and distractions and all that stuff. All that overwhelm comes from there. You have to get back to the very basic truths that are going to help guide you forward to really be able to get your life in line with what you want. And that's what happened, during those times of me getting out of that addiction. And they speak a lot of truth and value in those 12-step meetings. And this simple solution, really, it helped me get out of that time, and really get my life on track. So I can't forget about it now when just the distractions and overwhelm and the challenges are different. They're still big, but they're just different. And the Disney movies and the 12-step programs, they have a wonderful way of kind of distilling down and taking life's truths, like these valuable things, and kind of putting them into easy to understand statements and kind of directions to follow. So what is this simple solution on how to address challenges in life's decisions? You ready for it? I think I've built it up enough, right? You ready for it? It's do the next right thing. Just do the next right thing. It sounds dumb, or it sounds obvious, but just do the next right thing. And if you haven't caught it yet, or thought of it yet, I think it's Frozen 2. That's where I heard this was the Disney movie. But they talk about this a lot in the 12-step meetings because it's a way to approach challenges and decisions and struggles that, like I said, it gives you a lot of freedom, but it also kind of tells you what to do. It's the next right thing. It's not the perfect thing. It's not the perfect thing. You're not perfect. I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So what it does is when you just try to do that next right thing, it takes some of the stress and pressure off ourselves of having to make the absolute best decision, because we're not perfect. We can't do the perfect thing, and we don't know everything. So we don't really know what the perfect, absolute best decision would be. We can just do what we think, and we kind of know, okay, that's right. Let's do that. But also some of the power in do the next right thing is that it allows you to give yourself a break, because we got to give ourselves a break because we're not perfect. But when you try to do that right thing, or you try to do your best, or you just try to do something good, you can give yourself a break because you're human. We all are. It's just how it is. We're human. We're not perfect. But when you give yourself a break, you give yourself a little bit of freedom. It takes some of that stress and some of that pressure off, some of that maybe beating yourself up a little bit when things don't turn out exactly how you want. But they're not going to turn out perfect because we don't know the future. But when you try your best, then they actually turn out pretty good most of the time. A whole lot better than not trying to do the right thing. And the best news out of all this, I think, is that your best efforts are good enough. They are good enough. And when you try to do the right thing, you're good enough. They are good enough. It is profound how simply trying to do the right thing in the moment, giving yourself credit for that effort, giving yourself permission to try and to not be perfect, giving yourself a little bit of grace because, you're human and things aren't going to be perfect. You give yourself a little bit of grace for that. And all that can come from, like I said, just trying to do that right thing in the moment. Because oftentimes in that moment, in that small little moment, we know what a right thing to do would be. We know. Now, it might not be perfect. We might be distracted by a lot of other stuff. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of times you can do just that next small little right thing. Whatever it is. If it's time with your kids, if you're at work and you feel like being lazy and not getting the work done, or if you feel like complaining because things aren't going exactly how you want them to go, or the kids are yelling and screaming and throwing stuff and you don't know what the very absolute perfect parenting guidance and disciplinary action might be. I don't know what the perfect one is, but I sure can tell you this. When I try to just do the right thing in the moment, give them a little bit of grace, when I treat them with love and respect, I'm not the perfect parent, but things turn out a whole lot better when I just try to do what I feel is right in the moment. And I actually do it. I don't put it off. I don't say maybe for later. Just doing it, taking that action right then. See, this can save you a lot of the complication of trying to figure it all out, of trying to go for perfect, because you don't know how everything's all going to play out. That's fine. You don't have to. I don't have a crystal ball. You don't have a crystal ball. None of us can tell the exact future. But if you try to do your best in those small moments, not the big, massive actions, but the small moments, you try to do your best then, well, then it becomes a habit. The doing the right thing in the little moments, it's a lot easier. So you do the right thing in the little moments, it becomes easier. Then you can do it again. And then it can become a habit. And before you know it, trying your best and giving your best effort in those small moments, it builds up to momentum and ends up making a huge impact on your life. One tiny little right thing at a time. So try to do that right thing in that small moment, because then you can give yourself a break for giving your best effort. Then you can say, hey, you know what? I'm not perfect, but I'm getting better. That I did my best effort, and next time I'm going to do a little bit better. Because you can give yourself a little bit more grace because you did try in that small moment, and you can build from there, reap the benefits of being more intentional, especially in those small moments. It's not always fun. It's certainly not always easy, but you can do it. It's something that I'm trying to do in my life. I'm trying to do it a lot more. And will you join with me? Will you join with me in taking advantage of some of the truths that we find out there, even if they're from a funny source like a Disney movie, or something that's oftentimes a lot more serious, like in a 12-step program. We can get the truths from there, we'll bring them to our own lives, use them for ourselves so we can have lives that are more intentional, that are more how we want our lives to be. And so we can reap the benefits of those efforts. Will you join with me in that? I sure hope so. That's what I want for my life. That's what I want for your life. And that's why this podcast is here. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Remember to subscribe. I can't wait to talk to you again next week.